Okay, we're going to talk about Iyslander in this video, talking about what cards you'd want to draft, what cards would you want to use, and what cards to even avoid. Let's get right to it. Alright, so we've seen Iyslander before. Let's get acquainted with her again. She has Essence of Ice, so she can use ice cards. If it's not your turn, you may play blue non-attack action cards from your arsenal as though they were an instant. Whenever you play an ice card during an opponent's turn, create a frostbite token under their control. So we're looking for blue non-attack cards that are ice, ideally. That is what we want with Iyslander. So let's just look through the Majestics here. So the first one is Encase. It costs 0. It is a red, but let's read on. Deal 3 damage to any target. If Encase is fused, it deals damage to a hero. Freeze that hero and all equipment they control until the start of your next turn. So it comes in for 3 for 0, which is awesome. Defense for 3, which is okay. But the whole fact that if you can fuse it, which hopefully you should be able to, then you can freeze the hero, and that makes Dragon Allies lose go again. That makes ashes being created from red pitching not happen, and that makes Phoenix retrieval from the graveyard not a thing. So that's the very good part about Encase. That is a good pack one, pick one that can suggest you to look into Iyslander, especially if you get past this card. The other card we have in the Majestic slot, which is also red, is Freezing Point. This one costs 3. Deal 5 arcane damage to target hero. If Freezing Point was fused, instead deal X damage, where X is 5 plus the number of frostbites, ice, affliction, and frozen cards they control. I don't think in a limited game, unless you got the most premium Iyslander build, which could happen. In the pod that I was in, there was only one Iyslander, so it could happen. But I don't think you're going to get very many on the plus, or the Frostbite, Ice Fusion, Frozen cards. I don't think you're going to get additional damage, is what I'm trying to say. So I wouldn't worry about the Ice Fusion too much. I would see this as a 3 for 5, that box for 3, which is fairly good. I think that is a good enough pick, and if that gets passed around, I think that's a very good signal that Iyslander is open. Because I think with Iyslander, because she doesn't share any draconic cards, you're gonna have to really determine if she's open or not. If she is, perfect, go for it. If she's not, then stay out of the blues. Stay out of the way, because you're just gonna want to go ahead and say draconic. So anyways, let's move on. I'm meandering. Sigil of Permafrost. So I'm going to look at the blues here because we want blues with Iyslander. This costs 1. Has an Ice Fusion. If Sigil of Permafrost is fused, next time you deal arcane damage to a hero this turn, create that mini frostbite under control. This is the defense reaction. So we could even play the red since we can play it on their turn, but it is not a card that will deal arcane damage or an immediate give them a frostbite. So this card, where it's okay, it's not great. I would probably take some commons over this card and probably let this rare cycle. If I do see this rare on the second cycle, that's probably a good time to pick it. Ice Eternal. This is a rare, but this is something that I would possibly even pack one, pick one this. It is her specialization. It's an Ice Fusion. Create X Frostbite tokens under a hero's control. Then, if Ice Eternal was fused, deal arcane damage to that hero equal to the number of frostbites they control. So, you decide how much you want to put into X. It's a blue card, so we can play it from the arsenal on their turn, and then we can just create so many frostbites to stop their turn and deal some arcane damage while we're at it. So I really, really like this card a lot. And if you see this get past you, it's a very good sign Iyslander's open. Alright, so next rare, Succumb to Winter. Let's look at the blue here. Ice Fusion. Deal 3 damage to any target. If Succumb to Winter was fused and targets a hero, destroy a frozen card in their arsenal. If it was fused and targets a frozen ally, destroy that ally. It's interesting. It's not bad versus Dromai. You don't want her to get her dragons going. Um, it's cost 3 for 3 on the blue side, 3 for 5 on the red side. Not the best rare, I think, honestly. I would probably take some commons over this rare too, to be honest. Alright, so let's move on. Now we got Aether Ice Vein. So another cost 3. 3 is okay in this deck just because we run a lot of blues, so it's affordable. Deal 3 arcane damage to any target. If Aether Ice Vein was fused and deals damage to a hero, they discard a card unless they pay 2. I actually really do like this card. This isn't an ice card, so we will not be able to get them a frostbite from this, but it has a taxing effect that basically will work as a frostbite. It forces them to block it in some sort of manner, because if they do not, then they're going to have to discard a card unless they pay 2. So you're taking some sort of resources out of their hand, some cards out of their hand, just to deal with this card here. And I really, really like that. This is a common that I actually think is very, very good. This is a common that I would take over Sigil and Succumb to Winter. Alright, next card, Brain Freeze. This is a 0 cost, so this is very nice to play from the arsenal. Ice Fusion. Target opponent reveals their hand, and if Brain Freeze was fused, put an action card cost 0 from their hand on top of their deck. This has to be fused to do anything. And even when it is, it doesn't do the best. It does take a card away, but truly only the red one can really deliver on that end. Brain Freeze is the card I am happy to let cycle. I'd only really pick up a Brain Freeze in the last 2 picks, right? Like, I'm not huge in this card. Moving on, let's look at Ice Spine now. Another 0 cost, another Ice Fusion. Deal 1 arcane damage to any target. If Ice Spine was fused and deals damage to a hero, freeze a card in their arsenal until the start of your next turn. Not a terrible card if they're playing from the arsenal. It's not bad at all. It is a 0 for 1 that can freeze, which is really nice. A 0 for 3 even is not bad either. So these are both playable cards. I don't mind the red. I don't even mind the yellow or the blue because it's at least dealing damage and presenting some sort of taxing effect. I like Aether Ice Vein more, but Ice Mind is okay. Alright, and then finally our last Elemental Wizard card, we'll go through all the other ice cards as well, but is Polar Cap. We pay 2, Ice Fusion, deals 2 arcane damage to any target. If Polar Cap was fused and deals damage to a hero, create a frostbite under their control. So here again, it's not an ice card, so we're not giving them a frostbite by playing it from the arsenal, but it does have a frostbite effect if fused. And that to me is pretty damn good. I really like that. 2 for 4 in the red. I'm fine with that one too, to be honest. You know, I would take Polar Cap and Aether Ice Vein over Succumb to Winter and Sigil Permafrost. And probably Ice Vein too. But I definitely say Aether Ice Vein and then Polar Cap is the commons I'm looking at. But Ice Internal Encase and then Freezing Point are the rares I think we want for the Elemental Wizards. Okay, so now let's look at the Ice Wizards. Okay, so here we have our equipment. Conduit of Frostburn. Destroy Conduit of Frostburn. The next card you play is turn with an effect that deals arcane damage. Gains when it deals damage to a hero, destroy a frozen card in their arsenal. And it has Quail 1. It's really not that bad at all. I think I would I'd probably not grab this immediately. I'd probably, look to grab other blue cards first, but if there is no more blue cards in Iyslander class, then this would be my option, just to get the equipment. So, not the best, but it's also not the worst. If you can freeze their arsenal, then this is something that just destroys a card, which is very good. Alright, now let's look at Frost Hex. This is majestic. Another specialization, cost 3. It is an ice card, so we can play it from the arsenal and give them a frostbite token in the meanwhile. And then this has frostbites you control at the beginning of your end phase. This deals 1 arcane damage to you. It's an affliction, so it enters the arena under opposing hero's control. This is a very, very good card. Obviously, this is majestic for a reason. This is a pack one, pick one, and if this gets past you, you take it immediately. And probably really focus on getting more ice cards so that you can get in there with Iyslander, because this is such a great card. Okay, so now we got Aether Hell. I should mention that these ice wizard actions are really, really good just because they'll deal arcane damage and give them a frostbite token when you play them from arsenal. So for 1, you're dealing 2, and you're giving them a frostbite. All these are worth it. I would take all these pretty high because all these will produce a taxing effect. Now, I guess I should say Aether Hell Blue will. These two are okay. But the blue ice wizard cards are pretty high on my marks as far as drafting. Frosting, we have 0 for 1. Again, just gives a frostbite token. I'll take that. That's fine with me. It is disruption and it is chip damage. And then we have Ice Bolt 2 for 3, and again, giving a blizzard or a frostbite token. These are great cards. I value these cards in blue over many, many of the other commons, just because you're getting arcane damage in and giving a frostbite, which is very, very huge. There's not a ton of arcane barrier, but there is a few. And however, because the other decks are red based, they're not gonna want to spend a card just to prevent 1 damage. So Dromine does it pretty well though, so with her Aether Ashes, so keep that in mind. Alright, so now let's look at just the ice cards here. Okay, so now we got, obviously you draft the elves, we don't need to talk about that. You got Glacial Horns. Action, destroy Glacial Horns, choose a hero, frees up to 1 card in their arsenal and 1 ally they control until the start of next turn. So if you have the Glacial Horns with the Conduit of Frostburn, this can really be a little 1-2 punch to destroy an arsenal. So keep that in mind. If you pick up 1, get the other as soon as possible. Honestly, I do like the Glacial Horns more. So I would pick up this first, and then if you see this afterwards, go ahead and grab it. Channel the Bleak Expanse. This is an Ice Aura. It has Go Again. Heroes can't draw cards, reveal cards, or search decks from effects, and has the channel ice where you put ice cards above. This is not meant for limited. This is a CC card for the sideboards. You can play it. If you drafted it because you won and you stayed Iyslander during the draft, this is something you can play just to give them a frostbite. But this isn't going to be something that is going to stop them in their tracks. There's a few things that can draw cards. I don't know if there's anything to reveal cards, and there's only a few things that search decks from effects. So you're not gonna get much value out of this, so just keep that in mind. Alright, let's look at Hypothermia. This is another Majestic. This one costs 0 though. It's an affliction. Attacks you control can't gain Go Again. At the beginning of your interface, destroy Hypothermia. This is actually not bad at all. In this format, there is plenty of Draconic Ninja cards that do not naturally have Go Again and need the chain link to be at 2 or higher to have Go Again. And then on top of that, Dromai gives her Dragon allies Go Against. They don't naturally have Go Again. So this actually will put in work other than the channel Big Expanse. It's a very, very good card. This is a pack one, pick one, because it's blue, it's ice card, so you can play it and then just make them lose Go Again, give them a frostbite on top of it all. It's a very good card. We like these cards. Alright, we have Insidious Chill. Insidious Chill enters the arena with 3 frostbite counters on it. When it has no frost counters on it, destroy it. Cost 3. Whenever you ice fuse, remove a frost counter from a status shield. If you do, target hero discards card unless they pay 2. Okay, so again, we can play this from the arsenal to give them a frostbite. Then it becomes, how much can we use this? Honestly, if this was my pack 1 and this was the rare slot, if I didn't need the Majestic, because I'm trying to just win this draft and not necessarily like value draft, then I'm not really picking this card. I don't think this card is bad, but I don't think this card is amazing either. I think this card really determines, like, I don't want to pick this card basically and be stuck with Iyslander. You know, if there's nothing better, then I'll pick this card, but I'm looking elsewhere. If I'm already pretty heavy in Iyslander, just like pack 3, I'm already pretty heavy in Iyslander, sure, I'll pick this card and see if I can make that work. But at least what it does is it gives them a frostbite. But for 3, that's probably not worth. Probably want to do it for 0, like hypothermia. Okay, moving on to the rares here. So we have Eisenhower Weathervane. The next time you ice fuse this turn, create 2 frostbite tokens under target hero's control. Go again. This is a this turn effect. This isn't something that lasts around. This takes setup. I'm not a fan of Eisenhower Weathervane. I actually think it might be one of the worst rares. So I would avoid this like the plague. Alright, Arctic Incarceration. Create a frostbite token under hero's control. Basically you create 2 by paying 0. Not the worst. Allows you to do the staff after the fact. So not bad at all. I would take this and feel happy with it. It's an ice card, so it helps with fusion as well. So I like that. And then we have Cold Snap. Target hero may pay a resource if they don't freeze a card in their arsenal or an ally they control until the start of next turn. I do like that a lot. It's okay. Actually, I should say this effect's okay. If Cold Snap is played from arsenal, draw a card. That part's really good. As go again, costs 1. So you pitch a blue, you play this, you still have 2 resource loading to do your staff, and then on top of that, you give them a frostbite and you draw another card. So it's a great card, Cold Snap. I really do like it. This is another good common. I would take that common in a heartbeat along with like all these other blue commons. Blue is the name of the game when it comes to Iyslander, and you want to really just try to have as much as that as possible. I would rather have a deck of blues than just like half blues. I know that's less like arcane damage, but I think you'd be fine with it. Alright, and the last thing we need to look at is the wizard. Not talented. Alright, there. Now we can look at the staff here. The Waning Moon. Once per turn instant. Pay 2. Deal 2 arcane damage to target hero. If it's on your turn, you deal 3 to him. So 2 for 3, not terrible. Activate this ability only play a non-attack action card this turn. So you do have to play something from Arsenal if you want to get the 3 damage in. Otherwise, you play it on your turn to get the secondary 2 damage in. You know, that's what you're looking at. That's your weapon, so you're just going to work with that. You'll take the L's, obviously. Spellfire Cloak. Destroy Spellfire Cloak, gain 1 resource. Activate this only during an opponent's turn. It has Arcane Barrier as well, so this is a pretty good one. I actually really like this one a lot. I would draft this pretty highly, even over the Horns, to be honest, because I could see that getting used, and it's good in mirror match. Alright, so Tome of Duplicity. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, then banish 1 if it's a non-attack action card. You may play it this turn if there was an instant. This is a wizard action that's blue. You can play this on their turn to play another card. It's very Kano-like, honestly. It's you know, it's really up to you if you like this card or not. I'm personally not a huge fan. It's not dealing damage. It's not making a frostbite token, but it has potential. So I would probably pass it, but I could see, you know, Kano players really liking this card. Alright, so now we have Rewind. Cost 1. Negate target non-attack action card and return to its owner's hand, then that hero gains 1 action point. This is not a limited card. Do not draft this card unless you just need it for your CC deck. Alright, Dampen. Cost 2. Deal 2 arcane damage to any target. So that's kind of nice. You can target allies with this. Prevent the next X arcane damage that would be dealt to your hero this turn, where X is the damage dealt by Dampen. So this is an anti-wizard card. You could take some of these. It doesn't even have to be blue necessarily. It could even be red, because if they try to do it on your turn. But you probably do want blue so you can play it on their turn. I would not draft this. I would let this come to like the last 3 or 4 picks, honestly. Okay, Aether Dart. 0 for 1, any target. Not the worst. Draftable. I would draft it in the port of blue for sure, just to have blue. 0 for 3 for any target, it's not bad. I would honestly draft the red as well, just because that's good to play on your turn. You can play cards on your turn as well. Okay, so read the ripples. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy read the ripples, then opt 1 3 different times, and then draw a card. If this replaces itself, and like sets up to play something on their turn, I'm fine with read the ripple, quite honestly. You know, maybe I just do blue, honestly, just for the pitch value. I don't think I need red. Maybe yellow I'd be okay with, but because it costs 0, I'm actually okay with this card. Alright, Singe. I actually do want red Singes, because Droma is such a hard matchup. So the fact that I can deal damage to 3 allies they control, I think is very huge. Because you need those Aether Ashwin dead. So I do like Singe here. I'd probably go after ice cards first, but Singes tend to come around. But if I haven't had them by pack 3, I would probably prioritize getting a few Singes, because you do need a way to defeat Dromai's Aether Ashwings. Alright, that is all the wizard cards. The other 2 heroes have been covered so far, and then I think I'll do a generic and draconic next. So be sure to watch those videos as well, just to complete the set. Thanks for watching.